Hi, my name is Catherine Gomes. I am the author of the Apologia Math series, and in this video I'm going to give you a quick overview of some ways that you can do the skills practice for level 3, and I'm going to be talking about the Unit 1 skills practice. Now before I give you some ideas on how to practice, I do just want to communicate to you that this should be a top priority this year for you if you can make it so. I know every school year when you look at what you have to teach and the different kids you're going to be teaching, you have limited time, limited energy. But in level 3, your child is going to be learning multiplication facts, division facts, as well as several other key skills. So if you can, make a mental note that the skills practice for your child who's doing level 3 really should be one of your top priorities this year. And to encourage you, if you can do that this year, if you can really try to be consistent, have them practicing 5 to 10 minutes every day and not skipping too many days, it is going to pay off big time in the future. Knowing these facts well, knowing these skills really fluently is going to continue to be a blessing to your child, even up through high school. So, I know it can be hard to prioritize everything, right, during a busy day, but this is one of those things where it's really going to be worth it in the long run. Okay, so what is the Unit 1 skills practice? Well, Unit 1 is going to be a review of what would be traditionally considered like second grade skills, and that's intentional. Lots of kids lose ground over the summer. I don't know how your school year ended last year. Maybe there were a few rough spots. So I always think it's important to overlap a little bit. It's good for kids. It's good for us. It's just the best decision in the long run. So we're going to be doing adding 2-digit numbers, subtracting 2-digit numbers, as well as rounding and estimation. So 3 skills: adding 2-digit numbers, subtracting 2-digit numbers, and rounding and estimation go together. Those are broken down on the daily schedule. So if you take a glimpse at the schedule that is in the front of your teaching guide, actually Unit 1 is in this part here, you will be able to see you're not doing all of them at once. Each week you'll have a certain skill that you're working on. There's a bunch of different ways to practice, and you're going to see that some of these are really simple, quick, and others are a little more fun. And what I try to do in our house is rotate. Some days it's a little crazy and I do something simple and quick just to make sure we do it. Other days I'm like, let's do a game, let's have fun, okay? So that's what we do. The first suggestion I'm going to give you for adding 2-digit numbers is one of those simple and quick ones. In the book, I call it note card facts. Really, it could be a note card or a Post-it. This is as simple as it gets, folks. You're just gonna write one of the facts on a Post-it or on a note card and have your child do this. My kids love note cards and Post-its. I don't know why. So my plan when we do this level is I'm actually gonna put the one fact I want them to do on their book. And before they do the lesson, they do that one, right? It's only one problem. So that's the cool thing. Quick and punchy. You can give them one that doesn't have regrouping if you want an easy win. You can give them a harder one if you want to kind of stretch them a little bit. We also provided a whole bunch of worksheets on the Book Extras site. These are simple, just a straightforward worksheet with a clean design. All right, we gave you lots of white space, room for your child to work. And there's multiple versions of this. You may want to print these out ahead of time and just have it ready to go. It's a 4-day week on the pacing guide, so you could do this as your 5th day, or you can add these one of the days, or even have them do 4 problems one day. It's up to you, right? But really straightforward. Okay. Also, if you want to play a game, games are fun, right? I love games. You might remember this from level 2, these 2-digit spinners. So this is a really simple idea. We have different 2-digit numbers on the spinners, and they're intentionally chosen so that sometimes your child's going to get a problem with regrouping, and sometimes they're not, and that can be kind of fun. How do you make the spinner work? Well, you're going to use a paper clip. Once you've done this once, you know how to do it. You're gonna hold the paper clip with a pencil right on that center spot, okay? So you're holding it on a table while you're doing this, and then you'll flick the paper clip, and it spins really nicely. It actually works really great. So your child will spin twice, get 2 numbers, add to get a sum, okay? And the fact that they get to use the spinner makes it more fun. If you have a student who's struggling with this skill, I would recommend that you have them write the facts on gridded paper because that'll really help them line up the 10s, line up the 1s. You might even want to do a graphic organizer that has space for when they're regrouping. That can make a big difference for kids. The other thing is, if you want to make it competitive, you can do something where like one player goes, then another, whoever gets the higher sum wins that round. I'm sure you can think of these things, right? But just having the spinner makes it more fun. Oh, another one is make the greatest. So for this one, you need Uno cards or numbered cards. You just pick cards. So if you're doing 2-digit numbers, you would pick 4 cards. The other player picks 4, and whoever can line them up and make the biggest sum, like writing an addition problem, wins that round. Okay, your next skill is subtracting 2-digit numbers, and for most kids, subtraction is harder than addition, especially with the regrouping, so just keep that in mind. Again, you can do note card facts. You're just gonna write subtraction problems. What I love about this for this skill is you can really monitor. So day 1, I probably would give my child one that has no regrouping, you know, and then when they're getting the hang of it, one that has a 0, right? Like trying to like kind of scaffold it for them. We also have worksheets. So on the Book Extras website, we have these worksheets, multiple versions of this. So you can use them several different days. A really fun game for this is Race to Zero. So how you play this, there's different versions. I'll give you one version. You need base 10 blocks, and each player starts with 50. Okay, so that would be 5 10 rods, okay? And you roll a die, and that's how many you subtract. And whichever player gets to 0 first wins. What's the magic of this? Well, the regrouping. So if I have 50 and I roll a 6, automatically I have to break this apart into 1s. And it lets your child work through that process concretely. This is a really good one if your child's having trouble. Play this game for like a week and then come back to the worksheets and see how that goes for you. You also can do the same thing that we did with the addition spinners, except subtraction spinners. That's another great option. All right, your third skill is rounding and estimation. And rounding and estimation, I think as parents, we know estimation can really help kids figure out if their problems don't make sense. But rounding and estimation can be kind of weird for kids. They do need to practice it. It's not as intuitive for every kid as we maybe like to think. Okay, one of the easiest ways to practice this is roll and round. I'm gonna show you, it's in the book. It's really simple. In lesson 5, they play this. They roll dice and then they round it to the nearest 100, or you can roll and round to the nearest 10, okay? And you're trying to get like 5 in a row. On this game, if you don't color them in, if you use bingo chips, you could just play with this game board again. Another one is in lesson 4 in the book, they do an activity called round up or round down. Let me show you the papers that go with it so you can kind of see. So this is the graphic organizer. So if you're gonna round down, you put the numbers here. If you're gonna round up, you put the numbers here. And then they have different cards, some for if you're rounding to the nearest 10, some for if you're rounding to the nearest 100. It makes it a lot more manageable to actually have cards that you're sliding. Oh, I would round that down, I would round that up. It just is a little more hands-on for kids. You can keep these in the envelope after lesson 4 and have your child use them again to rehearse again, right? Or you could also write new ones if you want them to have new practice. You can also change it up. You could have them round these 3-digit numbers to the nearest 10 instead of to the nearest 100. Nice little variation. We also made some really cute, well, I think they're cute, some really nice worksheets for this skill in particular on the Book Extras website. So here's one where they're rounding and coloring. So fun, and it's also quick, right? Here's another just really simple one where I have them round to the nearest 10 with 2-digit numbers, then round to the nearest 100 with 3-digit numbers, then round to the nearest 10 with 3-digit numbers. I mean, just like quick, so they can reinforce that skill. And we also have estimation worksheets there as well, okay? So that's what you have for the Unit 1 skills practice. I hope that's helpful. So Unit 2 skills practice is really parallel to the Unit 1 skills practice, so it shouldn't be too complicated for you. In Unit 1, we did adding 2-digit numbers, subtracting 2-digit numbers, rounding and estimation. Here in Unit 2, we're just going to build on that, adding 3-digit numbers, subtracting 3-digit numbers, and again, rounding and estimation. We really just want these kids to totally solidify that addition and subtraction before we really focus on the multiplication and the division. Otherwise, they can kind of get backlogged. So let's look at adding 3-digit numbers. Well, in Unit 1, you know about the note card facts or the Post-it facts. You can do that again. It's that simple. You're just writing one fact on a Post-it or a note card and putting it right on top of their lesson before they start for the day. They answer it, you check it, done. You could even let them check it with a calculator for a little bit of extra fun. Quick side note, calculators in elementary, yes or no? The answer is both. It's not good for kids to use skills on the calculator that they don't know how to do by hand, but calculators are really good for checking their work and also discovering patterns. You'll hear more about that from me in different videos though. Okay, so you can do those, the note card facts. Again, we have worksheets on the Book Extras website. I'm definitely planning on printing these out before we start Unit 2, keeping them in a folder, so I'm just grabbing it. And also, that way I know what's on the Book Extras website and I'm not realizing later, oh, they had this great worksheet and I didn't even know about it. So here it is, it's simple, guys. Adding 3-digit numbers, just nicely spaced, and we have a couple different versions for you. All right, probably my favorite suggestion, though, I put it as a take it further because it is a little bit more challenging, is where you write a 3-digit addition problem, but you leave out one of the parts. Let me show you. Make sure you can see this okay. All right, so they have to fill in what's being added to get that sum. Make sure you put those boxes. That actually makes it easier for kids to answer this problem. If you do a problem that has regrouping, it takes some real thinking, but it's fun. It's like a challenge. If you want to step it down a little bit for them, you can give them the correct digits cut out and they have to decide which one goes where, right? Or you can actually, if you cut out digits for them that they can move and place in different places and move around, that also makes it easier. But if you're not gonna do that, here's what I would tell my child if they were gonna do this. Use a pencil, fill in a digit here, and then you might erase it and move it here or whatnot, okay? If they figure out an easy way to solve this, that's okay. They're learning. All right, so that's what we have for adding 3-digit numbers. Now, subtracting 3-digit numbers with the regrouping, and you can have double regrouping, right? These can get a little wonky. So how are we gonna practice this? Well, again, absolute same thing, a note card, but you're gonna use a subtraction fact. I definitely would scaffold it. The first day there's no regrouping. Eventually we're going across zeros. That's as tricky as it gets. We have worksheets for you. You knew I was gonna say that, right? I think I even put more subtraction than addition because, see, there's that one right there, across the zeros. Woo, what do you do? I'm gonna show you a trick real quick. So that problem was 500 take away 123. This is just for free. This is not in the book, all right? That's pretty hard to do, right? I'm trying to show it so you don't see the glare. Okay, so if you make 500 one lower and 123 one lower, that is a different math problem, but it will have the same answer. And if your child does that problem, they won't have regrouping. Isn't that cool? That's just a trick. Okay, the worksheets are on the website. Spinners, I love spinners. So in one of the lessons, I think it's lesson 14, they do a game with these beautiful spinners and they win a bird's nest. It's super cute, I love it. And here's the spinners. Again, we're doing paperclip spinners, so you're probably getting familiar with this if you're doing Apologia Math. You put the paperclip right on the center and hold it with the tip of a pencil. So you're holding it like down on the table like this, and then you flick it and it spins around to give you the number. So these numbers are higher, so they will be what you're subtracting from, and these are the numbers that you're subtracting, okay? You don't need to win a bird's nest, but you might want to use this recording sheet to help organize your child's work. How I would do it as a game, because my kids love to win, is I would be like, well, whoever gets the higher difference each round wins that round, and whoever wins the most rounds wins the game. Just a little tip, any paper like this that's in the back of the answer key, you can print extra copies off the Book Extras website. So like this one, you probably have in pristine condition, because I'm sure you're that kind of mom or that kind of parent, but you're gonna need new recording sheets. You can just go on the Book Extras website and print new ones, okay? That one's fun. I would play that a lot because 3-digit subtraction, most kids are gonna need a little more practice. Maybe not your kid, but my kids probably will. All right. Oh, and then the extra challenge. So just like we did like the missing piece and the addition problems, you can do that with subtraction. All right. Check out this. What? 400 take away what 3-digit number gives you 213. All right. Little homeschool parent tip. These are like, I don't know, they take some thinking to come up with, and maybe you're sleep deprived and you don't want to think about it. Don't worry, I got you. This is what you're gonna do. Take your answer key, all right? Flip back to the chapter that had 3-digit subtraction. So right now I am looking at the page 57 answers. Yes, I am looking at the answers, even though I wrote the book. And just pick one of those problems, and you already have the answer right there, and just leave out what's being subtracted. Do you see what I'm saying? So you don't even have to think. Super fun. These are the tips that get us through. All right. What about rounding and estimation? Well, it's going to be similar to what you did for Unit 1. We have some cool worksheets for estimation. I love this one. Let me show you why. So what it is it's estimate and match. You know what I love about it? A lot of kids struggle with estimation because there isn't like one clear answer. You might estimate differently than me. Who's right? Who's wrong? So what I like about estimate and match is they're like, well, which of these is closest to 300? So it gives them like this is why that's the right answer. So some kids struggle with that. Some kids don't care. They're like, I love estimation, free spirit. Everybody's a little different. All right, another one is roll and round. This was in the book, lesson 4. So you're just playing it again. You're rolling and then you're rounding to the nearest 3-digit number. You're gonna use dice for that, and whenever possible in our house, we use this. It's dice and a dice, or die and a die and a die. So, I don't know, it's really fun. We get kind of obsessed with these. So you're just rolling, you get 3 digits, you put it in whatever order you want to, and then round it. If you want to make it competitive, just be like, whoever gets closest to 500 or something like that. Yeah, and then another one, you know, you can always use numbered cards to do something similar. So those are my recommendations for Unit 2. So in Unit 3, you're going to start having your child memorize their multiplication facts. They've already learned a lot about multiplication, but kids need more time to really get those facts into their long-term memory. Now I want to talk to you for a second about chunking. Chunking is when we take a large group of information and we break it into groups or chunks, and it helps us retain information longer. So we're not going to just throw all the multiplication facts at our kids and have them practice and practice. It's not effective, and it's also kind of frustrating. So instead, we're going to group the facts into families, the 2's family being all the facts are like 2 times 1, 2 times 2, up to 2 times 10. We're also going to start with the easiest families. So if you look on the schedule, you're going to start with 2's, 5's, and 10's. Because 2's and 10's at least are pretty, some kids already know them, right? Then from there, we're going to add in the 3's and then the 4's, and that's it for this unit. We're going to save those 6's, 7's, 8's, and 9's, which are definitely the hardest, for later on. Now, the cool thing is, if your child already knows some of these fact families, like the 3's, think of that as a link, and then when they go to learn the 6's, they hook that information onto what they already know, and that's why chunking is so effective. All right, how are you going to practice? Well, you can always do flashcards, right? So I think flashcards are a great thing to have nearby for a quick practice. It's better than not doing any practice. It's not the most fun, but it is a quick a quick fix. You'll notice here that this set has 12s in it. Most sets have 11s and 12s. You can go ahead and take those out. If you really want your child to learn them, that's fine, but all they really need to know is up to 10 times 10. So I would pre-sort this, and I would pull out the 2s, the 5s, and the 10s for the first week we're practicing, and then 1 week I would have like just the 3s, that type of thing. Now, personally, in our house, we don't love to just flip through flashcards. We much prefer flashcard war. Each person takes half the stack. You flip a card over. Whoever has the higher product wins both cards. If you tie, that's where you do the whole I declare war thing. And we don't play till someone wins all the flashcards because it takes a long time. I set a timer for like 4 minutes and we play, and then whoever has the higher stack wins. But that's just what we do here. We have some great resources for you on the Book Extras website. Fact mazes are super popular at our house. So if you look at this, you're gonna skip count by 2s to get the B to, the hive. All right, we have them for 2s. Of course, we have them for 5s, right? These are fun, quick, and it reinforces. We also have like your straight up multiplication fact practice worksheets, but they've been pre-sorted, so they only have 2s, 5s, and 10s on them, and 3s and 4s, sorry, just the unit 3 stuff. We also have some cut and paste, so cut and stick or cut and paste. What's great about these is you already have the answer, so kids can use process of elimination to help them figure it out, and that helps. It makes it a little more accessible, a little easier. Okay, Battleship. So these are in the back of the answer key, but you can print extras off if you want. There's the kind that has the answers on it, or for a higher level, it's blank. So how you do it, the rules are in the book because it's one of the activities, but to guess, you would say like 7 times 6 to see if someone has a ship on that square. Now, to practice it during this unit, you don't want to throw all the facts at them. So what you probably want to do is just play on certain squares. So when we do this at our house, we're going to highlight the facts that are 2s, 5s, 3s, 4s, and 10s. You can actually see it's most of the board. The only part you're eliminating is right here because, like I said, you're actually learning more than half the facts with these families because of the commutative property. So my child would know they can only hide their ships in this section. Little Battleship tip, because Battleship can go on forever. When we play Battleship as a family, mathematically or the regular game, we typically block certain rows because it dramatically shortens the game and makes it a little less, it can drag a while at the end if you can't find someone's ship. Okay, last but definitely not least is songs. Now, to be honest with you, all these suggestions are great, but when it comes for us doing level 3, we are going to focus on songs. Music activates more of your brain, and you know this from personal experience. You can do so many different things to memorize, but if you sing something, you remember it so much more easily and you remember it forever. It's part of how music activates our brains. So every family's a little different with music. I would pick a style that you like. You can look online. We have songs that we like that I know we're going to use, but just find something that your kid will enjoy and you can just sing each morning before you do a lesson, and that's a great way for them to learn these facts. So the skills practice for Unit 4 is to rehearse the 2s, 5s, and 10s division facts. Now, this really mirrors Unit 3 where we learned those multiplication facts. That's intentional, but you might be thinking, but my child also learned the 3s and 4s multiplication facts. Why aren't we doing those division facts? Well, the reason for that is that Unit 4, data and measurement, is a little bit of a shorter unit in terms of the lessons in the student book. So I didn't want to give too much crammed into that time for the skills practice. So we're just dividing by 2, dividing by 5, and dividing by 10. There's a bunch of ways that you can practice. Of course, you can use flashcards, okay? Quick, easy. You could do flashcard war if you like, or just do flashcards. Just pre-sort them so that you have a stack that's just 2s, 5s, and 10s, and you're ready to go. You can also do, we have cut and stick worksheets on the Book Extras website. These are so simple. Okay, there's the questions. Here's the answers. You cut them out and glue them. The reason I do these so often is it does scaffold it for kids so they can see all the answers and move things around. That's easier for kids than writing, even writing and erasing. It's easier if they can just move the answers to different spots. There's a game on the Book Extras website that I really love. I think it's a lot of fun. It's called Color It In. So let me show you the game board. It's a little bit unique. There's 2 games on one paper. So you need 2 players, and they are just going to color in a division fact that's true. So when they first go, there's lots of options like 45 divided by 5, and then they would color in the 9. But as you go, they have to really think to see if there's any facts left that they can do. And you win if you color in the last division equation. So I like this one because I think it's a little different than what kids are used to. And of course, you know, if you just want a division worksheet with the facts they're supposed to be practicing, we made a couple of those for you, okay? All right, also Capture the Square. I love Capture the Square. I think Capture the Square might be my favorite math game. So if you're familiar with how you play Capture the Square, normally you put lines around dots, and whoever puts the 4th line and makes a square captures that square. If you capture the most squares, you win. And this is explained in the student book because they play it for one of their activities. How you're going to do it for the skills practice is first you're going to sort out so that you only have flashcards that are 2s, 5s, and 10s. When it's your turn, you pick a flashcard. 50 divided by 10 is 5. You'll look on the board. Anywhere that there's a 5, you'll draw a line. I'm going to do it in bright purple here. Right here, okay? And then you'll keep going to see if you can capture that square. Like you take turns, and then if you put the last line, you put your initial. It gets fun because sometimes you can capture 2 squares at once or that type of thing. What I love about this game is that you can do it with just some of the division facts and not all of them, and then you can add in more fact families as you go. So that is the Unit 4 skills practice. So the Unit 5 skills practice is telling time to the minute. Kids have been working on telling time in the lessons before this, but most kids need extra practice. Now, if I can say anything to you, don't overthink this one. We're going to keep it pretty simple. They are working on some pretty difficult, not difficult, but more challenging multiplication facts in their lessons in the student book. So let's keep this skills practice short, sweet, and to the point. So telling time to the minute. The best way and the easy way to do this is to have an analog clock and have your child read it throughout the day. So if you do have an analog clock hanging in your house, we just put up a big one in our kitchen. That's literally how I'm going to do this skills practice. What time is it, right? Change the setting on your phone, so instead of digital, it's analog. I mean, really, that is the best way to execute this. I'll give you a few other suggestions though. In lesson 49, your child made a paper clock, and we did mention that you should hang on to that. So you can use that paper clock in 2 different ways to practice. One is you can set the time and ask them to read it, which is the skill that we're more used to, right? We look at an analog clock, we have to be able to read it. But you also can tell them a time and have them show it on the clock. Right? So that's a fun thing to do. And we did want to provide a few worksheets for you, especially if you kind of wanted a way to gauge, like, are they learning it? Have they mastered it? So we created a couple of worksheets that are on the Book Extras website. There's a bunch of versions of this kind where they read the clock and they write the time. Okay, so there's more than one version of that. But then we also have this kind where they read the time below and they have to draw it on. Okay, so like I said, don't overthink it. Don't make it too complicated. Put a clock on the wall and have your child practice. So we are circling back now, and we are going to finish out our multiplication facts. Keep in mind that your child already learned their 2s, 5s, 10s, 3s, and 4s. So what's left? 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. Now, just to encourage you and your child, I would show them this. There is a list of the facts that they have left to learn, and it is not that large because of the commutative property. So we have some square numbers, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 times 9, and a few others like 6 times 8. So there's not a lot left. And if you remember, I showed this in another video, this is all that really is left on the times table for what they haven't learned. All right, so what are some ways to practice? Well, you can really mimic what you did before with the smaller facts, or you can spice it up if your child's getting a little tired of those and do something different. As always, we have flashcards. You can play flashcard war, or you can flip through these. One idea is sometimes I do something with my kids where I'll be like, you have to get 10 right before you're done. And what I might do when we get to this is if it's one of the sort of like the special facts, like 8 times 8, one of the facts we're trying to learn this unit, I'll give them 2 points or something like that, just to help them like keep an eye out. I always tell my students 7 times 8 is the hardest multiplication fact. People always forget it. And so then if anyone ever gets that right, I'm like, you are smarter than most people. 7 times 8 is tricky for some reason. I don't know why. All right, so there's flashcards. Of course, you know we're gonna bring back the fact mazes. Always check the Book Extras website because there's a lot of great stuff on there and you don't wanna be kicking yourself later. Isn't this so cute? My designer has fun and she's got, I think, a chicken and a worm. I was cracking up when I saw this. So you got to shade in the six facts, right? Okay, and you know, sometimes you just want something straightforward. So we have multiplication worksheets, but they're totally focused on this last group of facts. So that's fun. And then there's a really cute one. I love this one. I was excited about this one. What do I call it? Multiplication spider web. So let me kind of explain this if you haven't seen this before. So 5 times is what you're going to multiply by. And then the next circle is what you multiply it by. So for instance, it's 5 times 3, you would write in 15. 5 times 7, 35. So it's gonna look like this. You see that? It's kind of fun and they get to see some patterns and it keeps the fact families together. So, I don't know, something different. I was excited about it. Let me know if your kids like it. Songs, you knew I was gonna bring up songs again, all right? So if you were doing songs before, I would stick with those songs. They're great, they stay in your memory forever. So you wanna get a song for 6s, a song for 7s, a song for 8s, and a song for 9s. And then again, we have Battleship. So at this point, I would play Battleship with the whole board. I would play with it blank if you can, and you can utilize that misfire. So if someone says, you know, 7 times 8 is 54, the other person says misfire, and that's it. You don't get that hit, okay? So that can be very helpful. Also, be sure to show them those tricks with the 9s. There's the finger trick to help you remember the 9s. There's writing the list down. Those were all in the lesson, so that's just fun, right? And it makes those 9s easier. Good luck with this skills practice. Unit 7, so that means we are almost there. Good job. We are gonna finish the year out by reviewing the rest of our division facts. We have done so much work with facts, so give your child a high five and give yourself a pat on the back. You've done a great job. All right, we have a bunch of ways to practice. You knew I was gonna say flashcards, tried and true, easy, gets it done. And now you're not sorting them, you are just putting them all in there, okay? Sometimes when we do flashcards at our house, I do make a separate pile of the ones that my son seems to be having trouble with, and then sometimes we focus on those or put those at the top for the next day, so that can help. By now, there's probably some facts that your child is great at, and there might be some like sticky ones where they're like, oh, they always struggle with 8s or something like that. That's super normal, okay? Just keep practicing. All right, cut and stick worksheets. You know I love these because the kids have the answers at the bottom. Cut them out and find the right place for it, and they can actually move them around to change their answers. These are sorted by fact families. We've got your straight up division worksheet mixed review on the Book Extras website. And then we also have Capture the Square. So the last time we played Capture the Square, we limited our, when we were doing this for an earlier skills practice, I told you to pull out certain flashcards. Now, everything like 100 divided by 10 and under, we don't need the 11s and the 12s, is in the pile. And they just pick a fact and then They put a line next to a square that has the quotient, and if they capture the square, they put their initial. Now, one tip, because you may be playing capture the square a lot and you might get tired of printing a new game board each time, you can put this in a sheet protector and use dry erase markers so that you can reuse it, or you can laminate it. That would be amazing. But also, this is a really simple game board. So you can find like dot paper or grid paper and print a blank one, and you can just fill in, and it's just the numbers 1 through 10 is what goes in the center here. You also can make a smaller board for quick practice. It doesn't have to be this large. One other thing I wanted to mention to you, this isn't in the book, but this is something I have found really helpful with my son, especially when he's more familiar, not when he's first starting out, is we'll just have like more open-ended discussions. So I might say something to him like, name a division fact where the quotient is 5. Or I might say, name 3 division facts where the quotient is 5. Or, okay, let's go back and forth. I'll say a fact, you say a fact. And we're just talking about math, but that is, it's off the page, it's zero prep, and it's higher level thinking, and it really deepens my child's understanding. So that's another suggestion. All right, well done. Thanks for all the time you invested. It's gonna reap so many benefits for your kids, and I hope this last unit is a highlight for you.